Alright, I apologize for deciding to do that fight. A waste of life that was. Also, this really cool final dungeon has turned into a hallway suddenly. Not sure what happened. Hello. Hey, this is the boss we fought before! Just literally the boss we fought before. No different. At least this was a while ago, though.
Thank you.
See, boss gauntlets are cool when you fight a bunch of bosses throughout the game. This is just the bosses we fought in this dungeon again. Not sure I see the point.
Don't panic.
Like, remember in the original Final Fantasy where you go to all the different lands and fight all the different crystal bosses, and then in the final dungeon you have to fight all the crystal bosses again, but they're harder? Signifying, like, your entire journey. Remember how cool that was? Instead, now we just get Bandersnatch and Jabberwocky again for the second time. Well, third time, because we did fight these guys in the main game. And then we fought them again as like a boss, and now we're just fighting him as a random encounter. Need to change this back to double Saboteur because Fang doesn't have a Saboteur anymore. Boom. Why don't we, like, do this? Launch him? Three weeks that we've been in the same dungeon, and we've only really fought like 7 or 8 different enemies. It's just a never-ending, here's the mage guy, but now he's over here. But now he's over there. Which, I do like this dungeon, but yeah, no, you're right. It's kind of just going on and on. I liked it when it was more open, but now it's just connected hallways again. I'm ready to get to the end.
Thanks.
I will say I do like how difficult the fights are in the final dungeon. It's a shame if they're harder than the final boss, But I do kind of miss that retro Final Fantasy final dungeon where the dungeon itself is incredibly difficult. Like, the dungeon itself is a test of everything you've learned up to this point, instead of just kind of being the final dungeon and then the final boss. Like, Final Fantasy III, for as much as I hate how difficult that dungeon is, I do kind of miss that feeling of like, oh man, this is the end game, you know? Like, this dungeon does not screw around. Like, I think the final dungeon itself should be a challenge. It shouldn't just be the lead up to the final boss. I think 10 did a really good job with that. 10's final dungeon is not like to the point where it feels harder than the final boss, but all of the game's scariest enemies are all in that final dungeon, and many of them will kill you your first time you see them. Like, the King Behemoth will absolutely obliterate you with his meteor the first time you run into it and you're not ready for it, you know? So, like, that kind of thing is really cool to see. And to be fair, like, the fight I just fought is kind of similar, where I did not know that I need a sentinel or else I'm dead. So I got punished. I didn't mean to, like, if it came off as, like, that fight was bad, I didn't mean to. I liked that fight. I just was determined to beat it with what I had. That's what made it annoying. It was my fault that it was annoying, not the game's fault. I don't know if I made that clear or not. But the way I wanted to win that fight was the reason it was annoying, not the game itself. Dude, what? How is this? Oh, that's right. The big one heals this one. Sorry, I'm not paying attention. You had to kill the big one first. Luckily, he's somehow almost dead. I think Fang's been beating up on him this whole time. Dude, I'm so scatterbrained this morning, I apologize. With the Rebirth thing, and then Indie Gauntlet finishing, and this game finishing, and everything else going on, and then Sea of Stars and Chrono Trigger starting next week. I'm like all over the place. Also, my kids started school this week. That's been pretty wild. Well, my oldest did. My youngest started his new daycare. How's it going, kicking? I need to answer Met's question as well. I can do that now. Any thoughts on how we potentially get Leviathan and Remove for Rebirth? Granted, we all have Remake, but it seemed unnecessary to me. Oh, is that the... I have not seen the thing. I think that was in a developer interview where they talked about the bonus for playing Remake. I've not read that yet, so I can't give too much of an opinion, but I think everyone wanted something in Rebirth for playing Remake. Some people, I don't know, I've seen some people say, like, we better get all of our stuff from Remake and Rebirth or I'm not buying it. Okay. But you just want it to not be a game? Like, you just want it to be like New Game Plus? You just already have everything? Like, obviously you're gonna get wiped in some way, shape, or form. But some people are saying, like, we should keep some of our materia or some of our weapons, or there should be like something from Remake that we get. So moving over some summons is, I think, a really cool idea, because it doesn't, like, ruin the game if you don't have them, but it's a really nice bonus if you do have them. So yeah, it's a good way of doing it. I like that idea. I think that's probably the best idea they could do. Best way they could do it to make the most people happy, I think. So it doesn't feel like you get nothing for playing Remake. Why? Why? Why would I fight just him again? For nothing. Yeah, I like the idea. I'll have to read about it a bit more, but I like the idea of it. I think that's the best way to make the most people happy.
Let's wrap this up.
This should be fine as long as they all don't do their stupid spell at once. But if Vanille fogs them, then we should be fine. Why is this guy just menacingly staring at me? I don't know. I'm pretty okay with starting with nothing. It's a video game. Like, I can suspend my disbelief for the sake of making a good video game. Like, yeah, it's a bit weird. Like, what, did you guys leave all your equipment in Midgar? But for the sake of just making a well-balanced game, I really don't mind if we just literally started on level 1 with nothing. I also don't see the purpose of starting this off on like 40, but then balancing everything to 40. You could do that, and that's fine, but I don't really see the point. It's easier for people to pick up a game at level 1. So just do that. Either way, I think it works. The whole, like, transfer your save from part 1 to part 2 and get everything, I think was never really an option, but some people did say that they would prefer that, but I don't think that was ever really an option. This is fun. I like doing nothing.
Thanks.
Thank you, but you healed the wrong thing. There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, someone commented complaining that I don't use summons ever. They were like, does this guy even know that the game has summons? Bruh. Every time I've used my summon, it's been completely useless. I think there was one time that I used the summon and it actually helped.
This will be quick.
And from the sounds of it, it sounds like no one else really uses the summons in this game either. So I don't know what you're going on about. Yes, I know they exist, if that was your question. I'm choosing not to use them because they're pretty bad.
This will be quick. Thanks.
They also take forever. Speaking of taking forever, I'm doing no damage to these guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I used a summon once to get health back and to like reset the board. And that's when it was useful.
This will be quick.
But the actual damage of the summon, I don't think it's really ever helped.
Give it your best shot.
I could do more with the characters I have and the time it takes to summon the summon, do the first part of it, and then do the second part of it. I cannot believe how crazy my stats are, and yet enemies are like still so tanky. They really expect you to master the weapon system to beat the game. I felt like I was kind of ahead of the curve with the weapons, but apparently not.
Turn the tide.
Yeah, they're really convoluted. I don't like how there's two versions, like there's two, you do the first part and then the second part. I think just doing that second part and having them be stronger would have been much better. But for some reason they have like a obsession with making the summons like Transformers and being like, oh, they have the standing mode and the car mode. So they wanted to like show that through the gameplay. But honestly, I'm fine with Odin just being Odin, and then in the cutscenes sometimes she rides the horse. Like, that's fine. I don't need to ride the horse in the actual summon.
Free of charge. Let's wrap this up. This will be quick.
I finally stuck a bunch of debuffs. Neil, heal yourself.
We can win this. Now. This will be quick. Give it your best shot.
But now it's crazy. I mean, I do kind of like the first part of the summon, too. Maybe they could have just done that. Kind of reminds me of 12, where the summon just kind of fights with you. Like, that's fine. I don't think we needed the second part. Like I said, the second part could just be in the cutscenes. So the summons could just be, they fight with you. You know what I think maybe would have worked even better than that, too? Imagine if, when you summon, you actually keep your party, and the summon is just kind of out on the outskirts, and he just kind of throws moves in for a little bit. I feel like that would have been better. That way you could keep your paradigm thing going, and keep your buffs, and keep everything going, but you just kind of have this extra little help. Okay, I need to change this back to this. Honestly, I kind of want to do this. That way I can, like, heal them while they do debuffs. There's no reason for me to be a commando there. Got some CP to spend. Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with just one big move as well, but I feel like in these newer games, they've always tried to push the summons as more of a fights with you thing, which is fine, but I just think it could have been done better. Like, I'm okay with the idea of summons not just being one attack and they're gone. But I think it could have been implemented better so it's not so convoluted for no payoff. Yeah, I think 10 probably has the best summons, period. I mean, minus like 6, where there were literally your build. Like, that was probably the best implementation of summons, was 6, but in terms of, like, just being an extra help, an extra move, or fights with you kind of thing, I think 10 maybe did it the best. Oh, I'm not saying 10 had the best summons. Like, thematically. I'm saying mechanically. Thematically... that's tough. 7's hard to beat. 8's hard to beat. I still really do like 10 thematically. I mean, 10 has a really great mixture of classic summons and then their own new summons and then also callbacks. So you have like, you got Shiva and Ifrit for like the classics, Bahamut for the classics. Then you have Anima for this brand new awesome one. And then you have the Magus Sisters for like a callback to the originals. So it's kind of got everything. I also still think that Shiva and Ifrit are the absolute best in 10. I think their designs are the absolute best of the whole series. Whenever I think Ifrit, I think Final Fantasy X Ifrit. Whenever I think Shiva, I think Final Fantasy X Shiva. So, 10's pretty hard to beat for me. 8 summons are really cool, and I like the design of them, but some of them are pretty forgettable. Like Quetzalcoatl. I love Quetzalcoatl, but a lot of people forget it even exists. The original, it's hard to say that any of the retro games had the best summons just because they didn't have a ton of them. Which was obviously not their fault, but... Except 6, obviously. Like, 6 is the one big outlier. And like I said, mechanically, I think 6 definitely takes it because of how implemented they were into the game. Like, 6 is definitely the big standout. Thematically, though, I don't think 6 is my favorite. I have to kind of look back at 6's summons. But... the bomb and goblin summons. Yes. It was pretty cool summoning monsters. Yeah, I gotta check my other party members. I threw them through the Cursarium once to make sure they didn't max, but I might have to again here. Yeah, 8 had some awesome summon... Yeah, they're getting close. 8 had some amazing summon designs like Diabolos and Doom Train. But then some of the other ones are more forgettable, so... I don't know, 8 is still up there though. I mean, Shiva and Ifrit are also great in 8, so... And equipping them, and kind of similar to 6, where they're like part of the mechanics of the game. Really makes them stand out too. Eden is also like one of the best ultimate summons. I think Knights of the Round probably takes the cake for the best ultimate summon. I think most would agree with that, but Eden is definitely up there. Cold Blood, that's his special move. Arc is cool too. I've never really had like a big connection with Arc, but I could see if you thought Arc was the best in the series, I could see that. Arc is really cool. Chocomog, best summon. I think 7 has such a great balance of super epic, amazing summons like Bahamut Zero and Knights of the Round, and then like goofy summons like Chocomog. and then like all the classics like Odin, Shiva, Ifrit. So I'm not like, I still think 7 might have the best cast of summons. They kind of got everything. They hit all the classics. They didn't miss any of the classics. They even have Typhon, and Leviathan, and Odin, and I mean, they kind of got it all. The only thing I would say about 7 is there are a couple lame ones, like Titan has always been kind of lame. Mostly the problem with Titan is when you get him, he's weak. They needed to give him to you earlier. And Leviathan is cool, but just kind of like not useful, and his animation's kind of lame. So, like, they're not all bangers in 7, but just the fact that they even have Titan and Leviathan and Shiva and Ifrit and Odin and Typhoon, like, they really have them all. In 3 versions of Bahamut. Like, come on. I don't know. I think 7 takes it for me. For a full cast of summons. But 10 is also a really great balanced team. What blows me away about 10 is like 7 has a ton of summons, right? But it's because all they have to do is do one animation for them. In 10, they have a whole AI and you fight with them and they have different moves and they have levels ups and status and they're part of the story. Like there's so much going on with the summons in 10. And they were still able to make a ton. They were still able to hit most of the classics, have several original ones, have the Magus Sisters, which are callback. Like, it's pretty surprising how many summons are in 10 for how much they do. So that's like pretty impressive. No Ramu though, so big rip. Man, it's crazy to think. I never really thought of it, but how many summons are in 7? They really hit them all. Compare that to like 12, where it's just like a couple new ones. That's it. Even Alexander. There's 13 summons and 12. Wow, yeah, I guess. See, the thing is, with my playthrough, I got like all of them at the end, and I never used them. So I kind of forgot how many there are, but yeah, you get a lot at the end there. So many of them are secret. So many of 12 summons are secret. How many do you get if you just run through the game? Like 4? How many are mandatory? 5? 4? That's crazy. Like more than half of them are optional. Yeah, the only thing I can say negative about 7 summons are that, like, Typhoon and Titan and Leviathan are kind of lame. They definitely feel like they were just kind of thrown in. When you get them, they're never really that great. Their animations are kind of basic. So they just kind of feel like they were afterthoughts. But man, just the amount and all of the callbacks they were able to do, and how amazingly epic and memorable the final ones are. I just thought of something. Can you beat Final Fantasy VII without ever picking up a summon? It used to be impossible because you used to have to get Shiva, but you can, I think you can get past Shiva now with the elevator skip. Maybe not. Can you? I'm not sure if you can. No, I'm not talking mod. I'm talking like the regular game. Can you physically get through it without collecting a summon? Because most of the summons are sitting on the ground after bosses. You could fill your... Yeah, you could fill your materia inventory, you're right. So even if you didn't do elevator thing, you could just fill your inventory. So you could fill your inventory to not get Shiva. Ifrit's just sitting on the ground. Bahamut's just sitting on the ground. Titan's optional. Leviathan's optional. I think every other summon is optional. Neo Bahamut sitting on the ground. That's really interesting. So theoretically, you could get through the entire game without picking up a summon materia. Yeah, there's a couple very optional ones, but the ones that are supposed to be mandatory are always sitting on the ground. You could just not pick them up. Alright, let me go stretch real quick before we figure out what's next. I am ready. Let's do this. We're gonna get another random boss battle in a dark room, or are they just gonna run away? Examine her. Here we go. Ah. Tiamat Eliminator. Seems pretty tame so far. Apparently he's... Yep. He is completely immune to all ailments. Ouch. Uh-oh. Not a big fan of that. Can we disable that? Or dispel that? Guys? No? Kids want to buy some features. Ace, please.
This'll be quick.
Okay, that laser rain dispelled us, I think. Seems like this fight is gonna be, forget trying to buff and debuff. Just try to stagger him.
This'll be quick. Give it your best shot.
That's not what I meant to do. Man, this is gonna be another just big tanky boss. Maybe I should have thrown on haste real quick. Oh, you can be protected when he's in this form. Now he's really gonna feel the pain. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Nice.
This'll be quick.
I just gotta out. Just gotta stagger him again. We win. Well, having Kajata be a multi-hit move that early in the game probably would have been too strong. But yeah, Kajata's always been a really weird summon because of how the elements work. He's hard to use effectively. And when you do use him effectively, he ends up being like super OP. Use heal. How dare you. Take that. It didn't work. You can't dispel him.
Thanks.
Yeah, it would be cool to see them do something a bit more unique with Kajata in Rebirth. It's hard for me to call it Rebirth. I keep wanting to call it the remake. Because, like, it is the remake, but it's also Rebirth.
This'll be quick.
No, I don't like being slow. Give me haste, please. This is a little risky, but... Hurry up. Smite. Safe subversion. Might be the only person on the planet to use this paradigm. Honestly, I really like it. Quickly get my debuffs, and I don't really have any other paradigm where Fang can be a Saboteur. Am I the only person who wasn't a fan of this combat style? Have you seen public discourse on this game? Like, 60% of the Final Fantasy fandom hate this game. Definitely not alone. Having said that, many people do like this combat, including me. I do like the combat in this game. It's hard to come up with a percentage, but I feel like from my limited understanding of like my community, seems like maybe 30 or 40% of people hate this game, and another 20% just didn't get it. Like, they didn't hate it, but they were just like, I don't understand it. I don't... Either they don't understand it, or they just never bought it. They were like, yeah, this probably ain't for me. Also, we just randomly died from poison. And then, like, another 20% of people were like, yeah, it's alright. And then 20% of people, it's their favorite game. That's probably semi-accurate.
Ren's all right? Don't you go turning Seath on me, you hear? Not after we've come this far.
I guess I'll go back and save. Also, I got another Imperial armlet. Wait. Oh. That's not what I thought it was. You know what? I think I'm gonna give you this instead of just more health. I'm trying to like it. I think that was a lot of us when we bought this game for the first time. I want to like it. I genuinely enjoyed this game a lot when I played it the first time. I think it hit me at the right time when I was just like kinda... I wanted something new. You know? Now, having said that, I played it, beat it, got the platinum, and then never touched it again, but still. And I remember hating some of the characters, but I don't remember hating the plot. Like, I remember being alright with the plot. I just didn't like some of the characters. This time through, I really have a lot of issues with the plot. Like, a lot of big issues with the plot. And it's not necessarily the plot itself, it's more of the way it's told. It's just really not sat well with me. And part of that is because I like the plot being told through the characters, and the characters in this game are very divisive. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. I have like a dry throat. But like, yeah. Yeah, no, I think I've had a lot more issues with this game's plot than I did the first time through. Second time through, it should be easier to digest, and instead I'm just like more frustrated with it.